Trump hesitate to attack Iran. While Trump gathers his board of peace, the United States has been deploying the most air power in the Middle East since 2003. Never has the U.S. deployed this much force against a potential enemy without eventually launching strikes. According to an Axios report, an attack looked imminent over the weekend. However, Trump ultimately set a 10-day deadline on Thursday. The oil market does not look convinced. WTI increased by 2.4% to 66.7 US dollars during the day and by nearly 7% over the week. If the Iranian case follows his tariff playbook, we might expect de-escalation in the coming days and some sort of agreement on the Iranian nuclear program, which was allegedly dismantled not so long ago. The 12-day war in June 2025 showed that Iran retains sufficient capabilities to penetrate even advanced missile defense systems. This could serve as a form of deterrence. But then again, would Trump resort to such a costly military buildup merely to secure an agreement that will hardly be better than the JCPOA from which he withdrew? As for oil markets, historically, any escalation has been a good shorting opportunity. Tehran has no economic interest in closing the Strait of Hormuz. Despite threatening to do so, it has never resorted to this option. Moreover, even after its retaliatory strikes against U.S. targets in the region, in contrast to the attack against Israel in June 2025, it made sure they were symbolic in nature. However, it might consider action against the Strait of Hormuz a nuclear option if it believes the regime itself is at risk. But does it actually have the capability to do so, and for how long? If it does, then the most affected country would not be China or the US, but Japan, which relies on the strait for roughly 95% of its oil imports. As the largest foreign holder of US treasuries, the Bank of Japan would have to liquidate those treasuries to provide dollars, either to directly fund oil imports, priced in US dollars, or to sell into the market to support a collapsing yen, which is currently at its lowest point since 1990. Yields on U.S. treasuries would spike, and borrowing costs would rise, exacerbating the U.S. fiscal deficit and squeezing household consumption and business investment. The specter of recession would haunt Wall Street, and the AI bubble might burst, simply because with high yields, no one would invest in the nuclear reactors needed to power an industry already struggling with profitability. What are the chances that Trump would risk such a scenario? And what about his promise of low gasoline prices? Perhaps that is why, according to Axios citing a senior U.S. official, the Trump administration is prepared to consider a proposal that allows Iran token nuclear enrichment, provided it leaves no possible path to a bomb.